when this first came, when we first put it on people's plate was back in November, because that's the time when people plan vacations.
Right.
And I remember asking the community, "There's no way that we can even plan a vacation. Now, how can we even think?" And hopefully, at that point, I was hoping that by the time January would roll around, things we'd be in a better place. I didn't think we'd still be here. But so I said to you, vacation won't be so well planned. You can't plan a vacation without you're still suffering this way.
Right.
But now we're at the time when the schools are closing and the kids are home. And I think that having this conversation and getting out there, so for me it's an opportunity not only to tell people what I think we shouldn't be doing, but more important, to tell people what we should be doing.
Right.
And that... And I think as a result, we have so many creative people and so many creative parents that it'll generate many, many more ideas.
How should our vacations look different this year given the situation in Eretz Yisrael and Israel? Tonight's episode is going to be focused on answering this question, both from the perspective of if you already have a vacation planned, or if you don't have a vacation planned, and how we could best talk to our children to give over the right message to them. We have the pleasure of being joined by my Rebbe, Rav Neuburger, who was the Rosh Yeshiva and Yeshiva University of NYU, and as well the Mar Asra in Congregation Beth Abraham in Bergenfield, New Jersey. And thank you so much, Rebbe, for taking the time.
Thanks for the opportunity.
So this really was sparked by Rebbe sent out an email probably about a month ago to the entire Kehillah, and it was a very, very powerful message and a very timely and very practical message of our vacations shouldn't be the same this year. And the Rebbe went through a couple of different points of how should we approach our vacations, and both meets out our children and also in terms of just ourselves and the way that for our own approach towards the entire situation in Israel. So what would Rebbe say for a family who, let's say, got this email from Rebbe and had already booked their vacation? What can they do now at this point to make sure that it is, within this appropriate manner, that in the ideal way, while not, let's say, necessarily they already have some plans and they don't want to take away too much from their children's experience, or even like as Rebbe said in the email, that they need that, break and they need that rejuvenation. So what's the proper balance for this?
So as indicated, because we live lives that probably have greater stress than we should have, and because families often don't spend enough time together, enough relaxed time together, and often because of the schedules of parents and sometimes the schedules of adolescents, and they're running from activity to activity, there isn't the time for families to connect. So there is a great value in spending time together over the course of a vacation, and having the opportunity to set time aside where one really can be disconnected from social media and from one's phones. So those are all great values, and we should not give them away in this situation. So in the situation that you're describing, but I still think that the family should have a conversation. And the family can still address their time together in two ways. One is to walk it back a little bit. In other words, if there's an activity, if their normal vacation is the morning to an afternoon activity, so make them shorter, or maybe give up an afternoon activity, and involve the children in the conversation. There's a reason why we're walking back to vacation a little bit. And that doesn't mean that we should increase unstructured time, which is not good, or increase time where people are just watching videos. And so that's not a healthy way to go.
Sure.
In that case, the more activity that the kids have, the better. But if we can walk it back somewhat, and in the time that we walked it back, do something which connects us with the Jews of Eretz Yisrael. Take on a learning project. Take on could be some novi, or take on some mishnayos, and then have a feeling that we're doing something for the Jews of Eretz Yisrael. So the conversations are that we are really part of something much larger. The conversations are that this idea of Klal Yisrael is very real this year. It should always be real, but we get a sense to know what's going on with our own people and how they're suffering, and the conversations should be age appropriate, not to scare children, but to have some kind of imagination, some kind of dimion of what it would be if we would be in Eretz Yisrael, and to increase that connection with Eretz Yisrael, and to raise the level of empathy. And that's part of raising empathetic children, is being able to feel the pain of somebody else.
Right. There's no greater, stronger way to really give that to them than by saying, we're actually going to scale back the vacation a little bit and really put into action, not just saying it, we should feel bad, but to really put into action. That's
this, right. That we, and there are various scenarios that one can describe without scaring a child. The children who are not at home, haven't been home. And part of the conversation can be the what if. What if our children in Eretz Yisrael would see that the kids their age are soaking in the sun? What if they would see that they're taking in the slopes? It would be they would feel that we are so clueless to what they're going through, and we're so disconnected. So try to present that to our children, that Klal Yisrael means connecting with the concerns of groups that we may not have such a close connection with.
Right. It's interesting because I know that there was at one point, like in the very beginning, that a Rav had come out saying that no one should be, going out on dates right now, or no one should be going out, any vacation or, time out as a family. Like we should be changing the way that we, completely live our day-to-day lives, or our, our weekends, or, our Sundays, our nights with, our spouses, whatever it is. Someone mentioned this to me who was living in Israel and said, does that Rav think that by people stopping doing those things is really supporting us? So it's an interesting, someone said that to me at that time. And I'm just wondering what does Rabbi think about that? That was from someone in Israel who was saying that, which is just an interesting,
maybe I received a lot of reaction from individuals in Eretz Yisrael.
Really?
That said that some of the letter got to them, and it was a conversation at their Shabbos tables, and that they felt connected. They felt that maybe some American Jews really understand what we're going through, or they want to understand what we're going through.
Yeah, that was the way I saw the Iman. I saw, wow, this is beautiful. This was really showing Imo and Achi Batzar. Really,
yeah. I had a group of teens in the shul over the course of Shabbos. And one of the conversations we had was about how the winter break's going to be, should look different. And I really wanted the kids to push back, and some pushed back, and they said, doesn't this give a victory to Hamas if we have to live so much differently? Do the Jews of Eretz Yisrael really want us to not to be able to enjoy the times that we can? So as I was listening to that, and I was explaining why I thought that those ideas are significant ideas, but we still have to have the empathy. So there was a young man in the corner, younger than the rest of the fellows, and he spoke up and he said, I have a brother who's serving now. And he said, and he would be totally dissed. Right? He would be so offended if we'd be taking vacations now. And so that's really part of the experience of the Jews of Eretz Yisrael. There's many are looking to see the Jews of America. Are you
really with them or not? Yeah, 100%. So to look at it maybe from a different perspective, although it's somewhat similar, but maybe a family who hasn't yet, let's say they didn't make reservations to go away, and they didn't maybe make reservations for plans during the day, activities which maybe are harder to walk back. So they have the ability to really to still, form what that vacation is going to look like. What does that ideally look like?
So I think it's very important for the time not to be unstructured. The idea of sitting at home with the kids out of school, that does not, it's not productive. It's not healthy. So what I suggested is for families to figure out what kind of a getaway they need. How much leisure time, how far do they have to travel from home? And to make a cheshbon. And they need to travel a day's distance, 2 days distance, whatever it is, to make a cheshbon of what they need in order to be able to be distance enough from home so that they can relax, spend time together. And then, but at the same time, that it's not as opposed to figuring out where they, what destination they want to go to, what kind of a break do they need? So some families will do well by having lots of day trips, but a lot of families need to actually leave their home if they can. Many people find it difficult now to relax in one's home.
Right.
And then I think it's the same approach. The days should be active days. Days are which keep the kids, they keep them sort of busy, but still work in times where there's either some learning, some mitzvahs. It could be articles. Now there is one of the advantages of social media is that we can feel very connected to what's going on.
So many videos and
right. So and ones that are not frightening. So make that one of the focal points of the time together. And I think it's important for children, if we can, as opposed to feeling that they are being deprived, but to feel they are contributing something. That we really believe that when we say a Perek Tehillim, that's helping the Jews of Eretz Yisrael, it's helping us. We really believe that by learning the extra Mishnah, and we believe that when we learn a Mishnah on vacation, that's a much more powerful event for the Rebbeinu Shalom.
How do we give that over to our children in a way that they can, fully?
It's because when they're learning and not expected to learn in their own minds, and they are giving up something which they would want to do. So that's a more precious moment for the Rebbeinu Shalom.
Right.
There's a story that's often told in the yeshivas. The Rav Chaim Shmulevitz was an unbelievable masmid. And on the boat from Shanghai to America, I'm told that some of the details don't fit exactly, but the event is a true event. Exactly what the details are, I'm not sure. So they were passing by some glacier, and the boys went to see the glacier, right? So, and he stayed in his room and kept on learning. Somebody knocked on the door and said, Chaim, there's a glacier. And he was watching to see it, the flies habari. So he wasn't moved by it. He said, the young man that came to get him said, but this is the only opportunity you're going to have to see this glacier. So he said, it's the only opportunity you're going to have to learn when I could be watching the glacier. So that's what we have to communicate to our children, that we are asking something of them, but they're contributing something. They're giving Klal Yisrael. And I'm hoping that if we can get them to the point where they feel they are contributors, they're givers, then that will give them a sense of satisfaction.
Yeah. I also think it was so strong what Rebbe pointed out in the email about, we should be conscientious about what we post on social media, because if, our cousins or our siblings or anyone in Eretz Yisrael seeing us, out vacationing, it just, what message does that send? And it's a very strong idea.
So that's a good exercise, because we should be careful at all times. Right. We post on social media that we're. So this would be a good exercise to walk that back, and Mr. Shem will have good times and peaceful times, but that will still have a greater sense of privacy.
Amen. Any final message on the right way, the ideal way to do vacation this year?
So again, I think it's just it's an opportunity. It's an opportunity that, and we can share with our kids, because we're all experiencing or afraid that we're going to experience burnout. We don't do well with long-term service. So I think we can share with our kids that this is something that we also have difficulty with. And it's not easy for us to say Tehillim every day, to say Avinu Malkeinu every day, and to really feel it. And we have to use our imagination in order to get ourselves to the point. We have to refresh our memories, remind ourselves. But it's something that we feel is of such great importance that we do that.
Right.
So I think that sharing with our kids that it's not something that we're asking things of ourselves as well, but the opportunity to feel the difficulty of somebody else, the pain of somebody else, and to have children that are more empathetic. So those are that's such an important part of, if we can, if it's being mechanech our children.
Right. I actually wonder if in a way this could be like a refresh, because it's been a very long time, and today actually marks the 100 days. So in a way, it's been very hard for people to sustain it, and in a way, forcing yourself to explain it to your children or to rethink how you're going to do vacation in a way maybe can like be a refresh of the way that you are thinking about the situation in Israel, because it's like giving us something practical that we can actually do in a different way, as opposed to, like Rav was saying, like it's hard to keep saying Tehillim every single day, but this is actually a new way of us showing that we, the Imo Anochi Basar in a way.
We're trying to have to encourage people to have learning projects that'll start with winter break and then continue. And then we have a family learn something together, and they're learning this for the Eitzara. So that I think that could have an impact.
Yeah.
I think that if children we always try to make sure that on vacation our children are davening in it, but if we take the extra care to go to a minyan, or to bring our kids to a minyan, and we're doing it, we're not mechuyev to go to a minyan. It is 40 minutes out of our way or something. We're not mechuyev to, but Jews are based, so we have to improve our davening. So there are different ways that we can bring it home to our children in a way that, again, I'm hoping that they won't feel resentful, because they'll feel that they're givers, they're contributing something.
Right. And I know already, I heard so many people talking about in the community about how impactful Rebbe's email was, and in Mirz Hashem, it'll be even more impactful now.
When we first put it on people's plate was back in November, because that's the time when people plan vacations.
Right.
And I remember asking the community, there's no way that we can even plan a vacation. Now, how can we even think? And hopefully, at that point I was hoping that by the time January would roll around, things we'd be in a better place. I didn't think we'd still be here. But so I said to you, vacation won't be so well planned. You can't plan a vacation with all Yisrael suffering this way.
Right.
But now we're at the time when the schools are closing and the kids are home. And I think that having this conversation and getting out there, so for me it's an opportunity not only to tell people what I think we shouldn't be doing, but more important, to tell people what we should be doing.
Right.
And that and I think as a result, we have so many creative people and so many creative parents that it'll generate many, many more ideas.
Amen. Thank you, Avi.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for tuning in to another episode of the Jews Next Door. I hope you enjoyed as much as I did. I'd love to hear your takeaways. Reach out to us. Reach out to me at yair@jenaaf.org, hi@jenaaf.org. You can check us out on the website. You could leave a question there. We'd love to be in touch. Please be in touch. Check us out on Instagram at Parenting the Jews Next Door. Hit me up on Twitter at Yair Menshel. And we're on TikTok now too. We have some great content, a lot of really great insights into parenting, tips, parenting pointers, reaction videos, and quotes. We have a lot going on. We have a lot of articles. You want to check it out. Check it out at jenaaf.org. You won't be sorry you did. And I look forward to hearing from you. And if you haven't yet subscribed to the podcast, make sure you subscribe and share it with your family and friends. Looking forward to another great episode next week.